So my study abroad had a very big impact on my life. I grew up in a very small rural community in Michigan and had traveled very little. And so for me, it was my first chance to really immerse myself in a very different culture.
During my time abroad, I think I learned a couple things about myself. I think I learned that I loved to travel, which was, I hadn't really been on actually I had never been on an airplane before I turned 18. And so to have gone abroad that much as a student, I learned I love to travel. It's like a puzzle where you have to problem solve, and if something goes awry, that's okay. There are multiple ways to course correct and find a new path forward.
I'm really glad that I studied abroad because there were some real practical advantages from doing that. I learned another language, and knowing another language and understanding another culture at that level has just it just really opened my eyes to other challenges in life that came along of interacting with different people and going to different places.
Studying abroad really shaped, I think, not just some of my academic interests, but also who I am as a person. I think it really made me curious about the world around me, saw how we're so interconnected in so many ways.
You know, I'm really grateful for having the opportunity to study off campus, and particularly internationally, because one of the things it did for me was it really deepened my relationship to my own country. It gave me an enriched and expanded and a more educated perspective on my own country, as well as introducing me to the countries where I was in.
I think living in Mexico for a semester taught me that I can do anything. I didn't speak Spanish, and it was the bravest thing I had done so far, and it turned out to be one of the most fulfilling things I'd ever done, so it proved that I could try anything.
I think in terms of what I discovered about myself, I learned that I had a real love for something that if I hadn't gone overseas, I wouldn't have understood. That is learning how to speak another language, learning about a culture. And also it gave me confidence because you're there kind of all by yourself, and it gives you the opportunity to say, I could do this, and I'd like to do it more. And I think I've spent a good part of my adult life having those kinds of global experiences, largely because the very first study abroad experience I had as an undergrad.
I think I learned just how multifaceted a culture can be. I had a pretty single lens view of what life in Mexico would be like, and through my host family and their relatives who I met who lived all around the country, I realized that a culture is thousands of different things.
I would say studying abroad impacted me in both. It made me more informed about the world from a different perspective than the one that I had grown up in. And it made me more curious about things that I had never really thought of before, issues of religion and culture and history. You learn all of that stuff in a classroom, but until you get somewhere else and learn it from someplace else and from someone else, it doesn't mean as much. And the ability to learn it from a different point of view was my first step into sort of a global curiosity that I hope I've carried with me in my adult life.
And you will learn so much that'll enrich your education broadly in many ways.
I really felt like I gained a lot of self-confidence, and I know that after college, I've never shied away from new challenges and new adventures, and I think that my study abroad experience really has enabled me to do that.
As a student, I think there are several benefits to studying abroad. One of them is on the job market, it really differentiates yourself. You show this, I think, intellectual curiosity, this cross-cultural curiosity, and just also the ability to problem solve, put yourself outside of your comfort zone, perhaps some really great cross-cultural communication skills too.
I'm glad I studied off campus because I had the chance to explore a part of the world that I had never known before, and I got the chance to really fall in love with people who I could have never met.
If I could give any advice to Hope students who are going to study off campus, either domestically or internationally, I would say see this as a wonderful, unique opportunity to learn things that you may never learn anywhere else. and from people that you may never encounter anywhere else.
So if you're on the fence about it, just do it. It is my favorite part when I reflect on my college experience. I immediately go to those study abroad experiences and how foundational they are to me as a person and who I am today.
As a faculty person at Hope, I am willing to work with students to help make that happen no matter what their major is. I think it's important that all students have the chance to study abroad, and I know that there are ways to be flexible and ways that we can make that happen. We just need to talk about it and make a plan.
When else in life are you so free that you can just spend a few months being a citizen in a totally new part of the world? You have to go.
If you want a way to stretch yourself, this is a perfect opportunity because you really will be doing things that you wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to do, even at the great experience that you're having here at Hope College. I would say, get out there and stretch yourself and test yourself. You'd be surprised at what you're able to do and what you'll learn while you're doing it.